My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guests Eleanor Hamby and Dr. Sandra Hazelip. Ellie is a documentary photographer and missionary who has spent years working in Zambia, and Sandy is a physician and hospice director from Texas with a passion for service and adventure. They're affectionately known as the Traveling Nanas, and their new book, Here We Go, Lessons for Living Fearlessly from Two Traveling Nanas, captures the humor, heart, and wisdom that come from circling the globe in their 80s. Part travel memoir, part guide to fearless living, their book is filled with stories of resilience, friendship, and joy. During the program, we'll learn why and how their travels began. We'll hear about a number of their destinations and experiences, and in the process, come to better understand and appreciate that adventure, curiosity, courage, and joy have no age limits. Let's start by meeting Ellie and Sandy and then learning all about Here We Go, Lessons for Living Fearlessly from Two Traveling Nanas. Welcome. So delighted you're able to join us again.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to join you again.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
great
real
to
treat to be able to talk to you again and especially hear all about the book, inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, maybe as even a reminder for some viewers, would each of you just very briefly share a little bit about your backgrounds, more perhaps professional interest? Ellie, would you please start?
I certainly will. I'm Ellie Hamby, and I grew up on a farm in Oklahoma, small farm, and I'm a farm girl. And never ever dreaming that I would be doing what I did. But I will tell you, when I was out driving that tractor, plowing those fields, I would, and if I had a chance with a book, I was always reading like Amelia Earhart, Pearl Buck, something. There was adventure that I never knew, and it didn't show up until much later. But anyway, so then I married quite young, but it was a wonderful marriage. And my husband passed away about 20 years ago. But I lived in Zambia for years. I go there every year now. I've been there for over 30 years every July, except during COVID time. So anyway, and I'm, like I said, I'm a documentary photographer. I particularly like taking pictures, photos of people and wildlife. That are my two favorite things. And I direct the medical mission, the Zambia Medical Mission, which is one of the largest medical missions. And we have a group of about 200 people. About 70 to 80 Americans joined by that over 100 Zambian volunteers, and we go out 6 days in walking and ox carts and whatever. And so I just got back in August from doing that, and I look forward to next year. Even though I'm 84, I can still do it. So it's quite, and that's how Sandy and I met, was on our ministry in Zambia.
Outstanding. I mean, that's just a tidbit of the inspiration that both of you bring to the book and sharing your experiences. Sandy, a little bit about your background, please.
Yes, I'm Sandy Hazelip, and I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. My high school was rather large, and I was extremely quiet and shy. No one knew I was around.
She's not that way now, but anyway, she was.
And I married, I was almost 20 years old, to an absolutely, when he was 13 months old, developed diabetes, type 1 diabetes. I was a young mama. I knew nothing about diabetes, but I read everything I could get my hands on to take good care of my baby. And the more I read about diabetes, the more I wanted to learn about medicine in general. So when my son was about 10 years old and I was 34 years old, I told my husband, when school starts this fall and the kids start back to school, I want to take a couple of college courses. And my husband looked at me and said, Why? And I said, well, Donald, you've been to college and all of our friends have been to college and I want to go to college. Well, he knew me very well and he grinned and he said, uh-huh. Why? I thought, oh, he's going to think I'm a nut. And I said, Donald, I want to become a physician. And he said, well, honey, why didn't you say so? So I started to college at 34. I started to medical school at age 39.
Wow.
So opened my practice in a little town of Eastland, Texas when I was in my 40s.
The first woman doctor they ever had.
The
Yeah.
first female physician at this little hospital.
Mm.
And so um, when I was 58 years old, my husband, we had a visiting missionary that came to our church, and my husband was so impressed. And so that evening he said, Sandy, we ought to start taking our grandchildren on mission trips in the summertime. I'm a very busy doctor and I don't have time for mission trips, but I didn't say that to my husband, of course. And so I said, well, what kind of mission trips? And he said, well, I don't know, honey, but I'm sure there's something we could do that would be a benefit to missionaries and it would be a great experience to our grandchildren. Well, shortly after that, he became ill and he died. But he had planted that seed in my heart. So when he had been dead for 6 months, we had a young visiting emergency room physician at our hospital, and I was on call that weekend and introduced myself. And I told him, thank you so much for coming here. It helps us when you come, and we hope you'll come real often. And he said, well, thank you. I cannot come next weekend because I'm going to a medical missions workshop in Dallas. Why did he say that to me? So I found myself at the medical missions workshop in Dallas the next weekend, and I met Ellie Hamby and her husband.
Yeah.
And they twisted my arm to go to Zambia. So what? And I took my 14-year-old grandson, and every summer after that, for the next, I don't know, 20 years almost, I took a grandchild on a mission trip every summer. I took a grandchild every other year to Zambia, and the in between years, I took grandchildren to Russia, Cambodia, Romania, and so it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience for my grandchildren and for me, and to help fulfill the dream my husband had.
That's fabulous. Well, there's so much more we're going to cover with the book, but just what you've shared in the introduction is inspiration enough for all of us, I think, the way you've led your lives and continue to do so. But for time's sake, let's move on and just hear a little bit about the idea of how the travels, the whole idea of hitting 80 or so countries in your 80s, how that came about. Sandy, could you share a little?
Well, yes, Ellie and I had taken some other trips together besides our mission trip when after Ellie lost her husband. So we had traveled internationally and had a good time. Well, but that's when we were young in our
70s.
or in our 70s,
Yeah.
So in anticipation of getting old and turning 80, I mentioned to Ellie one evening, Ellie, wouldn't it be fun to go around the world in 80 days at age 80? Well, Ellie picked up on that. I'm telling you, she's Miss Organization to the hilt. She had every hotel reservation made, every airline reservation made, and COVID shut it down that year. But COVID didn't shut us down. So we made the trip the following year, and our new theme was around the world in 80 days
At 81 and still on the run.
That's great. Sandy, when did you realize that your travels could inspire others enough to become a book?
Well, we were amazed. But let Ellie tell you about when we landed at the end of our trip in Los Angeles. Let her tell
Please.
that part.
Well, there's actually two stories that when we realized we never really thought about a book just because that was a lot of work and we just really hadn't, we just hadn't dreamed that big even yet. But when we realized that people were noticing us, we were standing in the middle of the Shinjuku train station in Tokyo, where 3.5 million people go through there every day. And I think 3.4999999 whatever knew what they were doing, but Sandy and I didn't. We were trying to get a ticket to Mount Fuji. And this young man comes, and we have our t-shirts on. This young man comes up to us, and we're standing out there totally lost in the middle of the train station. And he says, I know you. And we said, what? You know us? He said, I'm Ziggy from Slovenia, and I read about you in the London Daily Mail last week. And here we are in Tokyo, in Tokyo at the Shinjuku train station, and it looks like you're having some problems. And we said, we are. And we told him we were trying to get a ticket to Mount Fuji. And his exact words were, you know what I had to do today? And this is a 28-year-old man, around a 28-year-old man. He said, what I had to do today was not that important. So I'm going to take the time to make sure you ladies get your trip to Mount Fuji. And Ziggy did. And so that was when we first realized, oh my goodness, people notice us.
Mm.
And then our social media started picking up, and we could see, all these things happen. Then all of a sudden we started doing TikTok. We had someone back here in the States that was helping us. We were sending all the information and writing, but she was taking the time to put it all up. And we did a TikTok video. And 2 weeks after we set up our TikTok account, we had a video with 6.4 million views.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, 6.4 million people, were aware of us across the world, because it's really been phenomenal. Then we arrive in LAX at the end of our trip. We walk off the out of the arrivals hall. We have our t-shirts on, and a lady runs up to us and says, I know you. You're the TikTok traveling grannies. I follow you. And then we realize, and then we watch the message that we were getting across, particularly on social media, to the older group that generally do Facebook. That was more, you were just bringing joy in our lives. We can't do that, but you were bringing so much joy. And then to the kind of the middle-aged group that does Instagram, you are an inspiration. And then to the younger group who does TikTok, and that's our largest following is in TikTok, and, which is crazy. It was like friendship. Everyone was tagging their friend. This has got to be us. It's just unreal how that
Mm.
was there. And so really we covered all age groups with 3 different kinds of messages, friendship, inspired to get out and do something with, in your life. And then really when you are really elderly and really cannot get out and do what we're doing, we're bringing joy to their lives. So,
Oh, you most definitely are.
and that's whenever and then when we arrived back from our trip, we received a email from a literary agent in New York City. She was a best-selling literary agent, and we checked her out. She said, this has to be a book. And she said, I want to be your agent. And we signed with her. And then about a month after that, we were featured in the New York Times in their Sunday edition. We get an email from Penguin Random House, the largest publishing company, and from the executive editor. And they said, we just read this story, and the world needs this voice. You need to do a book, and we would love to be your publisher. So it's just like, oh my goodness, yes.
Well, it's such a fabulous read. You do so much in the book. You cover a number of places. You give and come across with your spirit of enthusiasm, adventure, being fearless. For the sake of time, we're fortunate to have some images that you've shared of different destinations and places just to give viewers a little better sense of where indeed you've traveled over the years. And this is a nice one because it's sort of like the logo, which turned out to be your t-shirt
You're right.
in front of the globe here. And here you are about to depart.
Yes, we're at the Dallas airport, and that's really when things kind of exploded. We get in there, we just after we took this picture, we walk in, we're getting our boarding pass, and we get my phone rings and it's NBC5 Dallas. And we thought, what? That's a TV station. And they said, where are you? We have a crew on the way. And once they
Wow.
ran it, and then CBS picked it up the next day, and it just went viral all over on news media and things. And it was those shirts too that had a big part in it. Sandy's idea to do the shirts.
They're fabulous. I just have to say, just a very quick word before we enjoy the places. How do you pack for something like this?
You don't, that's it. We've had one checked piece of luggage and one carry-on, and that's it. And
To be gone 80 days.
we do a lot of washing in the sink in the hotel or wherever we're staying. Yeah, we did do
No,
that.
and I know you make a point throughout the book how economical you made the trip
Mhm.
and
Yes.
the wide range of places you visited, always making it a point to really stay with locals and
That's right.
explore the sort of hidden areas of the destinations. Please continue. Sandy, just a quick word here.
Well, this is in front of our expedition ship, not some fancy cruise ship, but our expedition ship that was going to take us to Antarctica, our first destination of all 7 continents.
And here we are in Antarctica. That's one of my favorite places ever, just to stand there knowing that you're somewhere where no humans live full time. They live in 6 month stints and things, but you got lots of penguins, and it was just so enthralling. It's just a really a moment of awe just to stand there and look at that.
Unbelievable,
Mm.
unbelievable. Well, keeping with the Penguins, where are you
Yeah.
here?
Ushuaia, the world's the furthest southernmost city in the world. And that's right there by where you get off or on going to the Antarctica. So we love taking that picture. We thought that world's end, that's where we were headed.
It's fabulous. And getting ready for one of the train rides.
Yes, many train rides. This was going up to Machu Picchu.
Mm. Oh, what a glorious shot.
Well, this, of course, now we had been to the Antarctica. Now we're in the Arctic Circle to see the aurora borealis, the northern lights. And there we are standing right there, just framed by the northern lights. What an
Oh,
experience.
And this was 10:30 at night, no moon. I mean, full moon.
Full moon.
Full moon, because you could see the light reflection. It was just amazing. It's just like you're there during the day, but that was 10:30 at night. And that was like -6 too. It's a little cold. In fact, it was
high
very
as a
cold.
boat. It's just stunning, stunning. How do you adapt to, speaking of the environment there, but how do you adapt to the different cultures and languages along the way?
Well, we love the different cultures,
Uh-huh.
and we try to embrace what area we are in and live within that culture during that period.
Nice.
And language is not a barrier because what, Sandy?
Because the common language for all countries is a smile.
Oh, so true, so true. Well, continuing with the little chilly part of the world, where
Yeah.
Well, here we are in the Arctic Circle, telling us how far we are from New York City, Rome.
In fact, we were headed to Madrid and Rome from here, so that was pretty cool.
sticking with the northern theme here in
Yes.
Lapland.
Oh, this is when we took that husky sleigh ride. We just thought we were doing a little sleigh ride around with huskies, around a circle like we do, in a park or whatever. But no, this thing,
This
oh
went
my
4
goodness.
miles through the forest.
As fast as they could. We were holding on for dear life. But when we
Oh.
got through, Sandy, what did we say?
We said,
Wow, that was fun.
You're fabulous.
Oh, this is in Lake Baikal when we were in Siberia on the Siberian train. And we walked out on that ice, but there was a safety rescue team practicing not far from us. So we felt like we were safe if we fell in. So that was quite, we had a phenomenal time when we stopped on the Trans-Siberian in, I can't pronounce the name, anyway, it's one of the town there at Lake Baikal, and we had a really, really fun time and quite a memorable experiences.
Yes.
Speaking of, say, falling on the ice, perhaps, were there any particular challenges that you encountered more than you anticipated?
Not really. We have 4 artificial knees between the two of us.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, so we did with CBS News with Ramey, their foreign correspondent at down on the street by Parliament in London, and they were saying, "How are you guys going to have any problems doing this around the world in 80 days?" We said, "Look, we can do knee bends." We got down and they filmed it, and no, we know our limitations, but our limitations are pretty high out there. I mean,
Hey.
we just climbed lots of mountains recently, so.
Also, as a physician, I'm accustomed to doing lots of research regarding my patients before I go in to see them. Well, before this trip around the world, I did lots of research, and actually, I looked at every single destination and the time of year we were going to be there and what the climate, the temperature was expected to be during that time, because we, of course, went from Antarctica to the Arctic Circle and then traversed all the way around the world. And so we knew what to expect.
Well, speaking about a different part of the world and warming up a little, where do we see you here?
Well, that is the beautiful
Spice Island
Spice Island, and we were crowned queens of Spice Island.
in Zanzibar.
That's
That
fabulous.
is so cute. We love that place. It was very interesting.
Yes.
And here's one of the wonderful shots from you.
You tell that was it.
Well, that is in Egypt
At the pyramids.
at the pyramids, and Ellie had told the CBS correspondent that we would ride camels
Yes.
around the pyramids. Well, I had an experience years before in Syria riding camels, and I knew I did not enjoy this. But Ellie said, "Oh, we have to just at least get on, Sandy, so we can get pictures."
And Sandy did, and then she got off. I went riding around the pyramids by myself. It was really fun. I don't really crazy about camels, but I'll tolerate them. But you'll not see the two of us on camels together in a picture, because I promised her we wouldn't do it again. That's our limitation.
Well, here's another way to enjoy Luxor in the area there.
Yes.
Yes. That was the hot air balloon, and you cannot imagine what a peaceful, peaceful day that was. There was not a hint of a breeze. When that lifted off from the ground, I never felt a movement.
Yeah.
And it traversed where the captain wanted it to go. And then when it landed, I never even felt a thump of that
Yeah.
basket on the ground. It was absolutely amazing. I loved the hot air balloon.
And the view below over the Valley of the Kings was spectacular to
Oh.
be up there and imagine all the history and things that had happened far below us. It was really an unworldly experience to take the hot air balloon over the Valley of the Kings.
Just seeing the shot is priceless.
Yeah.
Keeping with the air theme, here you
Yeah.
a little higher. You can speak about this one.
Well, that was, of course, another world wonder, and we flew over Mount Everest. And there you see us with our certificates showing that we flew
Yes,
over Mount
we did.
Everest.
That's great.
It was spectacular. We flew the whole length of the Himalayas. It was 5 a.m. at sunrise. Absolutely mind-boggling. Just amazing experience.
And here, of course, is another world wonder, the
Yeah.
Taj Mahal in India.
And this one was a cute little photo that our guide took, and that's just a half a cup of water there. And he put his camera right here at the back of it, and where the water was, and then shot us up there. Looks like a lake or whatever, but really it's a half a cup of water.
That
Quite
is
being a photographer, I love that.
that is brilliant, brilliant. This is a gorgeous shot with wings. Where are you
Yeah.
here?
Sao Paulo. And we're down at Batman's Alley where all the street art is. It's absolutely coolest place in Sao Paulo. And we had a picture taken in front of many things, but that one kind of like, here we go. We're ready. Our wings are there. We're going. And we love that photo. So that's in Sao Paulo.
And just another incredible experience here.
Yes, in Malaysia, right,
Yes,
Sandy?
uh-huh.
That was so fun to go around that city, Malacca. And we went to see all the different religious churches and things. The history in that city is amazing, and to go around it in such a cute little
Oh, don't you love that?
bicycle, whatever.
Trishaw.
Yeah,
Trishaw,
trishaw. That's what they
yeah.
were called.
Mhm.
It was such fun.
And this is one of the more entertaining photos in Bali.
Yeah.
Yes, that's in Bali, and it looks like our monkey is sitting on our lap is taking a selfie of us.
Yes,
But he's really not. What's he doing,
He's
Sandy?
grabbing some food.
Yes.
that's terrific. That's terrific.
And again, this is at the Bali Swing, and we were up in a short little thing up in the hot air balloon. We had those red dresses on, which were in a suitcase there for us to pick. When we got to the Bali Swing, they said, "Oh, you must put on dresses," and we said, "No, we don't dress up." And so they said, "But you have to." So we said, "Okay," and we both picked out red dresses, and so they were really cute. We wore these wild, long red dresses all the time we were at the Bali Swing, so that was fun.
Fabulous. And the one of the last places we're just going to hear a quick word when you were in Australia.
Yes, we loved being in Australia. We have a huge following in Australia, and this is in Sydney. We've taken a boat out in the harbor and things, and you can see the Opera House and the famous Harbor Bridge and all that. It was that was the end of our trip, and then we came back to the United States when we did the Sydney trip. Yes, this was when we're still in Australia in the outback at Uluru.
Uluru Rock. Yes.
And another wonder that you sort of ended on
Yes.
Grand
We ended
Canyon.
our trip with another wonder in the United States, and of course, that's the Grand Canyon.
Well, there's so much we could still talk about. In the minute or so we have left, maybe just go forward. What's next? Are there still dream trips on your list?
Absolutely. We've been going after we did around the world, and we're doing one continent at a time. So we've been to South America, and we're doing that for about 30 days. We went to Oceania. We went to South America, and we went alligator hunting and piranha fishing. And Sandy caught the biggest, and we ate it. Piranha stew.
And our theme when we went to
You-
South America
We-
was we are
82 and we're not through. Then we
Oh.
went to Oceania, and we went to Papua New Guinea, slept out in a village with no running water, no electricity, no indoor toilets. But anyway, and our theme was there.
We are
83 with more to see. And next we're going to Europe. Our book is being published in Germany, and in Romania.
Wow.
So we're excited about that. But as you know, we're going to go off the beaten path, though. We're going to some of that's kind of what Sandy and I love doing, meeting people and being not where all the main tourists are, but we do see some of the main tourist sites, but our main focus is off the beaten path.
Oh, terrific. There's so much more we could talk about, Ellie and Sandy. And again, so inspiring. Your spirit, joy for life is something we can all take with. And I think that's what's so appealing is the genuineness that you bring to your travels and adventures. So much we can learn. Highly recommend viewers and others picking up your book to
Yep.
get a
We have it
better
right here. Here
overall
we go.
sense. Terrific, terrific read. continued success with future travels and endeavors, and hope we have a chance to perhaps chat again sometime.
That would be great, Jay. Thank you so much. You're such a delight to talk with.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.